have knocked us back on that. He's sharp.
Can we defer this one too? Can we defer this one?
I think there's not enough public
because it's
consultation.
unlocked Avondale now.
Yeah,
can we defer that one?
Block up Avondale.
Like we did for the last one?
Okay, order please. Thank you.
Oh,
Humour aside now, we can get back to business. David.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there's actually two items associated with Avondale. One's a bit later on and confidential, and there's this item on the high-level project plan. Both go back to the workshop that we had with councillors just recently. Accompanying me is the chair of the local board, who you
Welcome,
all
Tracy.
know.
Kia ora, thank you.
Tanakoi.
And John Carter and Mike Bush from Panuku, who have been working on Avondale, in Mike's case, for some years now, like myself, and John Carter, who is more recent but has been driving the planning work. So we're all aware of the importance from our previous interactions of high-level project plans, setting as they do, or as we hope, providing us with some understandings with the governing body in this committee, through this committee, about what is going to be achieved in an area and what sites are going to be put into the redevelopment pot. What community amenity we're going to try and achieve subject to budgets, what activation, what other partners and stakeholders we're working with. So that's all in here. I made the comment last week about stealing with pride, and this is a good example where we've had a lot of work undertaken before we were even set up by the local board with the community. Most of that has been used. I guess we've added quite a bit of commercial thinking to it, but it's important to acknowledge the fact that this is a good example of getting a lot of pre-existing work with a lot of community buy-in. Avondale, as we all know, is a very well-located centre. It's kind of, I think, Exhibit A, I guess, for the council in terms of what areas through our growth strategy that we're trying to make things happen. And we're fortunate here because of the amount of public sector land, some land that we've been acquiring, which we can go into more in confidential. We've actually got the ability to make a lot of change for the better in this centre. And again, just reaching back to last week's discussion, we haven't just been involved in building a platform here for action. We've actually actioned 3 sites already for housing, which in total will be over 200 housing units. One with the private sector developer, Ockham Developments, one with the New Zealand Housing Foundation, which has been a great success, and the third one is the sale of the site to Housing New Zealand, which are going to put just over 100 units on it. So what I'm saying is there's already been action here. We're not just waiting around for completion of planning. So John was going to make a few introductory comments quickly, Mr. Chairman, and then we're happy to take questions.
I'm happy to move, Mr. Chair.
Let's hear it.
No, there's some questions.
No, I can still move.
Can you just hold fire? There'll be questions. John, we'll go to John. Mike, maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm very pleased to be able to present the document, or the high-level project plan for your endorsement. As David was saying, it is a foundation document so that we can efficiently and effectively make moves, which we're already doing, to really implement a momentum for change in the area. There has been a strong alignment between the different key players, including the local board, community facilities, Auckland Transport, Housing New Zealand, and I think that's acknowledgement both of the work that's already been done. We've picked up on a lot of work, plus also the scale of opportunity that there is in Avondale. So I think that's really positive, and I want to acknowledge Tracy as a local board chair for her passionate and effective, being a passionate and effective advocate for Avondale and keeping us on our toes and being in touch with the community. And it did go to a planning workshop on the 27th of September. So just to sort of remind you all, this is the area that we're talking about in Avondale. The key, sorry, the yellow bits there are the council-owned properties. The sort of purple colour is Housing New Zealand-owned development sites, and the orange colour is large sites are in private ownership at this point. What really sets it apart is that there are a large number of development-ready sites, and by development-ready sites I really mean large sites with very little existing development on them that could be developed quite quickly. There are also lots of positives for Avondale. It's got a train station which will be upgraded with a CRL 20 minutes into town. It's got a number of investment by Auckland Transport in cycling infrastructure which we can link into. It's got a very good location. It's got a very good positive community. There's a number of very, very big positives. There are some challenges, and some of those challenges relate to this area of the town centre here, where at the moment there's a lack of activity. There's basically a big empty site which has been empty since the late 90s, the BICE site. So we're looking at how we can address pick up on the positives and address the negatives as best we can, and how we can build quality residential neighbourhoods. So we're not just thinking about sites, we're thinking about how it fits in. And the strategy really sets out key moves about how we can achieve that. And I think we need to achieve all of those elements to really achieve a strong, vibrant centre. And they include things like creating a heart in the town centre. There's an opportunity with an existing community centre which is not fit for purpose, and to try and find a more central location for that. There's an opportunity to have concentrated upgrade of public realm, which means not upgrading the whole street, but looking at where you can improve things, particularly if there's a new community facility. Let's improve around that to create an area of quality within the centre. Supporting a range of housing types. That means working with Housing New Zealand as well, because Housing New Zealand are obviously a key landowner, and what happens on their side and how the social housing, market housing mix is managed is very important. And we need to think about the connections, because there's a lot of sort of roads which are cul-de-sacs, how they might connect through, and what the future of the wide area, including the racecourse, might be, and how we can ensure that we don't do anything that makes it harder in the future, and in fact try and do things that help those outcomes. Thank you.
Thanks for your work, John, and Mike. I know you've been chipping away at this for a long time as well. Tracy, your board is right in behind it. No conditions, no caveats, no underground car parks, Tracy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it is a privilege and a pleasure to be here again to share this with you, this statement. Our full board and community representatives are absolutely supportive of the work that has been done to date and what has been presented by Panuku today. And I also want to acknowledge that they're right. I have been slightly nagging, although it's not the right term, but them about how we get the best outcome for everyone. And what surprised me most is that our strong community advocates are just totally embracing this. I've had all sorts of different positive text messaging, emails. So it has, and I can sincerely say, been a real pleasure, and it does seem a little bit unfair that many other people have worked on this for years, and I'm in my first term and first year, and we've had such success, but maybe that's just the way life goes. So for our people of Avondale and the surrounding area, this is just long time overdue, so I'd like to acknowledge those people that have waited. Thank you. Kia ora.
Thank you. Now, I have it moved by Councillor Walker. Do I have a second? Councillor Cooper? Thank you. And Councillor Cooper.
Just want to say, when we were in Waitakere City days, we always looked over that border and were steaming ahead with a lot of things, and could see the potential of Avondale but could do nothing about it. And often we'd have things like we'd build roads and then Auckland City wouldn't want to finish the other half of it. So this is really great to see now. Sorry, David, it wasn't you. And it must have been the decision makers. And so in terms of seeing the potential, I lived in Riversdale Road for quite some time, and Rosebank Road, and had a house there. So I know this area really well, and it's really overdue. But also the fantastic thing is that, you know, using all of the different, you know, levers, and that's what I see is really great in terms of the whole unlock. You've got to engage with other partners because we can't do it all. But that's the beauty of Panuku, and you know you've got the expertise there. So I think it's really great. It's one of those inner suburbs. It's right on the train line. The facilities are there, great school, and it's just going to enhance. You know, it is a great place to live. So thank you, Panuku and Tracy and your board. And I just want to acknowledge former councillor Battersby, because he was one of those Newland councillors that looked over the border and said we could do great stuff here. And I think he's relished the opportunity to be part of that and join on with his beloved Newland to have some really great suburbs. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr Chairman, sorry, I didn't put an apology in for Councillor Battersby. He, as Councillor Cooper has stated, so just sorry, I follow on from that, he has put in his apologies. I'm sorry, he is, I think in Nelson it is. I'm sorry, I don't follow everywhere he goes, but people may think I do. But he has put his apologies, and he was very appreciative of this work.
Thank you. Filipino.
Thank you, Chair.
Go.
Yeah, sorry. Just a... Hey, how are you? David, just a question. Do the recommendations on the paper around Avondale, do they set off any implications for the long-term plan? I mean, look, I know it's Unlock Avondale, and I know that the long-term...
they don't set off any implications, but obviously bubbling away in the high-level project, in the LTP, is some themes that are contributing to it, because the relevant department of the council has been championing some extra money for the community facilities, because the community centre there is stuffed and it needs to be, so we're working with them on relocating that. The other issue, of course, is around reinvestment, because clearly as an unlock area, if our reinvestment proposal goes somewhere in whatever format, this stands to benefit.
Okay. And so, Chair, just it's around that reinvestment issues. I know it's been canvassed at previous planning committee meetings, so it's just, yeah, that's the reason for the questioning.
Thank you. No, it's good. Councillor Wayne Walker.
Sure. Very pleased to move this, Mr Chair, and it's heartening to see that the local board and the community and the council are all in alignment. Part of my reason for moving this is I used to work in the area for many years, so I'm intimately familiar with the problems of the area and very supportive. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done, David, and John, Mike, Tracy. I know your board's been right in solidly with this work and working extremely closely with Panuku, with a lot of confidence in Panuku, and Panuku's had a lot of confidence in your board. So that's what I'm hearing. David, please take that message back to HQ, and it's been good. Thank you very much. It's moved and seconded. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried.